Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes, and welcome to yet another review video. Well, today we are reviewing Dark Knight's Death Metal by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, the fabulous Bat Duo. So, The Dark Knight's Death Metal is a direct sequel, more or less, to the Dark Knight's Metal, a cosmic DC Comics event published a couple of years ago. And so what happened in the latest installment of The Dark Knight's Death Metal? Now, once again, it's very typical to Scott Snyder's writing. That is, you must pay attention, and you ideally need to know a lot about the DC multiverse, which is, if you don't know anything about the DC multiverse, I suggest you turn off this video, go and read about at least 20 years worth of DC Comics comic books. But if you know something about the major crises of DC Comics, like the Crisis of Infinite Earths, Final Crisis, Blackest Night, Infinite Crisis, Dark Knight's Metal, if you know something about Scott Snyder's run on Batman, and if you are just a little bit familiar with the post Dark Knight's Metal, Justice League and Batman, I think you're fine. And of course, I would recommend you read The Batman Who Laughs, which was written by Scott Snyder and illustrated by Jock. Was it Jock? I think so. Right, so what happened? I will not spoil much. I'll only say that as far as the story goes, our heroes were separated into three main teams, and that is the Bat Team. I call it the Bat Team. The characters there call it like the Wonder Woman team, because she acts as their leader. So there is Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman, and their goal is to go to the three major crises in the DC multiverse history. So they are traveling through space and time, and they need to gather the crisis energy and with the help of the so-called Alfred boxes, redirect the crisis energy into their own Earth and the Mobius chair to defeat the main villain of the story, one of the main villains of the story, which is the Batman Who Laughs, or as he is now known, the Darkest Knight. Then we've got the Flashes, or the Speedsters, composed of Barry Allen and Wally West, and now I'm blanking on the rest of the Flashes. Well, then never mind. And their task is to run away from the Darkest Knight, because he needs to capture Wally West in order to gather the power that Wally West now possesses, so he can reshape the multiverse into his own image. So as you can see, the Darkest Knight, or the Batman Who Laughs, really needs to take over the crisis energy of the three main crises from the DC multiverse, as well as the Speed Force and the Mobius chair, in order to firstly help his mistress, the Perpetua, take over the multiverse, and at the same time to be her own chieftain, and the best chieftain, and rule with her, basically. And the third team is composed of there was Swamp Thing, Harley Quinn, and Jonah Hex, and Starro, which are basically supposed to help the main team, the Wonder Woman team, to then get back into their own multiverse and help them redirect the crisis energy to their own multiverse via, as I said, both the Alfred boxes and the antennae that Perpetua built to gather the crisis energy from the life force of the inhabitants of the different worlds. So as you can see, this is typical Scott Snyder's event crossover comic book, and I love it. It's complicated, it's action-packed, it's cosmic, it's metaphysical, it's just pure awesomeness. The only thing you need to do is to pay attention and, of course, know a lot. Now, this is what's, this is the gist of the story in Dark Knight's Death Metal issue 4. Now, in the previous issues, which were more of like one-shots, it was Dark Knight Speed Metal, was Multiverse's End, and one more on which I'm blanking right now. We're dealing with the individual teams. Now, they come together, or first we jump from one to another, and then do they meet again? Do they get together again? Well, you will have to check out for yourself. But what I can tell you about the issue is that I have enjoyed it thoroughly, and as I said, if you've been following DC Comics for quite some time, if you know something about it a lot, you will enjoy this action-packed ride, and as well as humorous puns and quite good jokes and humor, but at the same time very deep thoughts, which and once again, no pictures here because I'm getting the new single issues digitally, since I come from the Czech Republic and I do not have any comic book store near me that I could get my single comic book issues from. But Wonder Woman, and that I wanted to point out one more thing. Well, two more things. The first one is the art of Greg Capullo, which is, as always, great and perfect. There is nothing negative I could say about Greg Capullo's artwork, so you can be goddamn sure that it's drawn masterfully. Now, there is a scene, or a passage, when Wonder Woman meets Superman or Superboy Prime on one of the Earths during one of the crises that didn't go as well as they expected, but you will read about that for yourself. The important thing for you to know is that when Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman went to the different worlds, to the main crises of the DC multiverse, those crises were different in this issue than the heroes remember, like the crisis on Infinite Earths or the Infinite Crisis, and that's because they have been tampered with by the villains, and one of the people who helped the villains tamper with the crises was Superboy Prime, and in this passage he is explaining to Wonder Woman why he was doing so, because he wasn't satisfied with the way things were. He didn't like the changes. He didn't like the way the heroes changed, because each and every crisis of this multiverse means a change. And I think that in this passage, Scott Snyder told us something very deep, and that was or rather an allegory on what's been happening to comic books and to superheroes and to comic book industry in general. And I'll just read out this very short monologue of Superboy Prime and what he said to Wonder Woman when he was about to redirect the crisis energy not to their Earth, but to Wally West, but to the Batman Who Laughs, or the Darkest Night. He said, "You're all monsters. As a boy, I felt so lucky just to live in a time when you all walked the earth. These heroes who are the best of us. You fought bad guys and you won, and it was simple. I felt so lucky to be a boy living in the shadow of these idols. But you all changed. Now, my purpose is to guard the essence of what you were, what you're supposed to be. I'm saving you, Diana. I'm saving you all. If making a deal with the devil is the only way to do that, then so be it." So I think that by writing very well, by writing so masterfully, be it Batman or the different events, Scott Snyder is really doing so. He himself is one of the only writers of the 2020 who are capable of retaining or keeping the values and the superheroes themselves, at least to a certain extent, the way they have always been. And he is one of the only writers who is, I think, trying as much as he can not to deconstruct them into the SJW image of the 21st century or the 2020. So that's my favorite passage of this comic book. And once again, if you've been following all this, I do recommend Dark Knight's Death Metal issue 4. Definitely 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, like 100 out of 100. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next issue as well. And the cliffhanger in the end was also very good. So I'm looking forward to both the next issue and the collected edition once it all comes out. And I hope DC Comics is going to publish it in a nice oversized hardcover. So that will be all from me, my friends. What do you think about Dark Knight's Death Metal issue 4 by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo? Do you like it? Not? Do you share my opinion, or does your opinion differ in any way? Let me know in the comments down below. And do not forget, you can now follow me on BitChute, which is another platform. I'll provide a link to it in the description down below, or you can subscribe to me here on YouTube. Dislike this video if you don't like it, or like this video if you like it. Well, and that will be all. See you soon, and bye.